In the first instance, every pharmacy that's registered in Ireland has to have a named superintendent. We at the PSI are very happy to work with the profession of pharmacy, to work with superintendent pharmacists. Indeed, this initiative is about supporting superintendents to ensure that they have what is necessary to deliver for their patients and for their communities. The significance of the role of a superintendent is they are in absolute control of the pharmacy and everything that goes on in the pharmacy. And the named superintendent has the direct accountability at a professional level. They ensure that the procedures and processes and protocols, that care and treatment systems, that everything works efficiently and effectively, but more particularly that everything is safe from a patient's perspective and safe from the public's perspective. The post is unique in the Irish health system in that the registration of pharmacies is directly linked to the authority and accountability of the superintendent. You cannot have a pharmacy in Ireland without having a superintendent. What we have now is a systematic approach to the clinical governance of pharmacy practice in Ireland. So summing up then, superintendents are critical. I'm satisfied that the superintendent pharmacist, with the proper support systems, with the new infrastructure we'll put in place in terms of CPD, will see the patients of Ireland get the highest quality of care.
The Superintendent Pharmacist was introduced ultimately for the benefit of patients. Prior to the Pharmacy Act, when the profession of pharmacy was largely unregulated, it was possible for non-pharmacist owners to simply get together and form a company without having, and acquire a pharmacy without having any healthcare knowledge or experience or knowledge of the profession of pharmacy. And yes, there legally had to be a pharmacist present on a daily basis to supervise that pharmacy, but there was no requirement for that pharmacist to be in personal control of that pharmacy, nor were they accountable for the activities of the business as a whole or for the overarching policies of the organisation. Non-pharmacist owners, they can still own a retail pharmacy business, but not without first having a superintendent pharmacist in place. And as a result, all the members of the public can be assured that for every pharmacy they walk into, there is an experienced superintendent pharmacist that is responsible for both assessing and addressing risk and for ensuring the quality and safety of the service that is provided for its patients.
Pharmacy owners now place the day-to-day running of their business under the personal control of the superintendent pharmacist. Therefore, the Pharmacy Act 2007 requires the owner to both understand and facilitate the professional and management obligations of the superintendent pharmacist. The owner must also provide the superintendent pharmacist with the necessary support and resources to fulfil their obligations, and in turn those of all registered pharmacists engaged within the retail pharmacy business. Pharmacy owners are obliged to consider and act on the advice of the superintendent pharmacist when dealing with matters relating to the management of medicinal products within the business. Where a pharmacy owner is a company, a legal agreement must be in place between a pharmacist with a minimum of 3 years post-registration experience and that company. This agreement is referred to in Section 28A of the Pharmacy Act 2007, where it's described as a statement that must be jointly signed and submitted to the registrar. Without such a jointly signed statement, the owning company cannot lawfully conduct a retail pharmacy business in Ireland, and therefore to do so would be an offence under the Pharmacy Act 2007. By signing this statement, the corporate body declares in law that it has appointed the named superintendent pharmacist to be in personal control of the pharmacy and to discharge the legal responsibility for the management and administration of the sale and supply of medicinal products. This statement is a declaration of accountability on behalf of the pharmacist and confirmation that both parties understand and accept their responsibilities. It enshrines the agreement between the superintendent pharmacist and the pharmacy owner and ensures that the superintendent's responsibilities are both officially conveyed and understood. So what does signing this declaration mean for a superintendent pharmacist? Well, by signing this statement, a superintendent pharmacist declares in law a number of things. Firstly, that they have been appointed by the corporate body to act as the pharmacist for the purposes of Section 28A of the Pharmacy Act 2007 in respect of the retail pharmacy business or businesses. Secondly, that as a superintendent pharmacist they are aware that the management and administration of the sale and supply of medicinal products is under their personal control at all times, and that they undertake to discharge this responsibility fully. Thirdly, that they are a registered pharmacist with a minimum of 3 years post-registration experience. They must also declare whether they are a director or office holder within the relevant corporate body and the nature of the office they hold. Importantly, the Superintendent Pharmacist declares that the retail pharmacy business or businesses will be conducted in full compliance with the provisions of both the Pharmacy Act 2007 and the Regulation of Retail Pharmacy Business Regulations 2008. Finally, the Superintendent Pharmacist declares that they are aware of their legal responsibilities under the Pharmacy Act 2007 and undertake to ensure full compliance with all regulations, codes of conduct, statutory rules and professional guidelines as may be in force. The Superintendent Pharmacist may be responsible for a number of different pharmacies at any given time. However, they must ensure that there's a supervising pharmacist acting in whole-time charge of each of these pharmacies. Supervising pharmacists are responsible for all activities within the individual pharmacies, even when absent, and they may only act in this capacity for one pharmacy at any given time. It's also possible for one pharmacist to discharge the role of both the supervising and the superintendent pharmacist at the same time. It's very important for the superintendent pharmacist to establish a good reporting and working relationship with each supervising pharmacist in order to ensure the smooth running of each pharmacy under their personal control.